All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ASAP Real Talk on the All Sports, All Plays Network, where our goal is to bring you great sports debate coverage. Our show tonight is brought to you by...
Today's show is brought to you by Suzanne Paparazzi Jewelry. All products are lead and nickel. All products are $5. Special offer for ASAP Sports viewers. Free matching earrings when you buy a necklace. Order now at paparazziaccessories.com. Promo code 160920.
Now, I want to let you know, all you guys know at home, that if you enjoy vibing with us, please feel free to comment and please share. Now, I'm joined tonight by my colleagues, Freddie. We got Chris Brown, my man Jay, Chris Peel. I'm your host, Larger Than Charge, Big Country, and we're joined tonight by our special guest, ESPN radio show host, Jeremy Greene. How you doing, Jeremy?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Pretty good. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been with ESPN Radio for 4 years here in Asheville, North Carolina. Do a web show called The Sportsocracy, 9 to 10 every weekday morning on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, all the social media lives.
Sweet. It's good to have you. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Anytime.
We're going to jump right into this. We've got a bunch of good topics for us tonight. We're going to probably give each person about 1.5 to 2 minutes for discussion, and we'll go from there. Let's start up top in the corner with my man Jay. Being the Dallas Cowboys fan, who looks bad in this whole Dak Prescott situation?
I'm going to go with his agent because he ain't giving him good advice to sign that contract when the money was in the hand. And now he's out there stuck in the wind on that, 1 year, $37 million he got, or $31 million, whatever that cap was. No, he should have. You know what? Look, he should have realized that he's not the elite quarterback. He's not the Patrick Mahomes. He's not the Lamar Jackson, the Tom Brady. He's got to realize where he's at. He is with the Dallas Cowboys on a good level, but not the elite level. He wants elite money, and he ain't there yet. So he's trying to get the elite. He shot for it. He missed. He got hurt, and now he's going to sit there, and now he's got to prove his worth all over again. I blame the agent. The agent should have said, hey, Dak, let's come back to water. Let's get this contract because you got good money on there, and let's keep rolling. He would have been straight. But now, who knows?
How do you feel about it, Chris Brown?
Well, I mean, he should have took the money because look where he's at right now. I don't think he's worth top quarterback money. He might have all the stats, but none of those stats translates to wins. He was asking for money that he's honestly, in my opinion, from what I've seen, game after game, not worth. Now, like McLovin said, look at him. He doesn't have the money. He's injured. So we just hope that the Cowboys take care of him. With Jerry Jones, I don't know if they're going to do that. They're now trying to say all the right things. Oh, we love him. Oh, this and that. That's fine that you're saying that. Will they stand on it? I doubt it. So I do think he should have took the contract. But it is what it is. You bet on yourself, and sometimes this happens.
That's true. Freddie, up top, what you got, brother?
Man, we can say that it's all numbers and all that good stuff, but guess what? Most of these guys in the NFL nowadays are getting paid off based off their numbers. So let's just be honest. We lost somebody, but it's based off of numbers. You have a dude by the name of Jared Goff. You have a dude by the name Carson Wentz who got the big payday. and you have Dak Prescott, who's putting up the same amount of numbers, just about. He's a leader. He don't miss games. He do everything that you ask him to do. He do everything that you've asked him to do for the last 2 or 3 years. He's playing for the Dallas Cowboys, and you have a dude and he won one playoff game. You have a dude by the name of Tony Romo who's done this have the same accomplishments of Dak Prescott have. Tony Romo only completed when he's with the last contract he got, only won one playoff game. And guess what? He got paid. Jerry Jones took it to himself to make sure Tony Romo got paid. So I look at it like this: if he was willing to take care of Tony Romo, who was also doing injuries at the time, who was not available at the time, this is the injury that Dak Prescott is going through right now. Is really his first injury in the major league in the NFL. So I look at it like this: just feel sad for Dak that he got hurt and that he did take a chance on the franchise tag. Because he should have known this was one of the possibilities that could have happened. And it just feels sad that it happened. But Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, hopefully they take care of him and his family where they will not hurt financially in the long run.
All right, Ed. What about you, Chris Peel?
So Jay, one thing I want to say, when you were talking about the elite quarterbacks, you forgot to say Carson Wentz. Dak Prescott. So yes, I agree. So he should have taken the money at the time, but as we know, as an owner or as a GM, you have to overpay for your quarterbacks. Now, there was a time when Matthew Stafford was the highest paid quarterback in the league, and that's crazy. So you don't really have to be an elite top of the line quarterback to get the $100 million. You just have to be a franchise quarterback, and there's a difference between being a franchise quarterback and being an elite quarterback. But when it comes to the money, they're all the same. So yes, he definitely should have taken the money because this was definitely a possibility. But as much as I hate the Dallas Cowboys, I didn't want to see that happen. And that's honestly I know a lot of people were talking about the financial status, but that's the last thing I was thinking about when it happened. I was just thinking like, this is sad for this young man because he was really talented. But I also will say a lot of those stats were, I don't want to call them garbage time stats, but they weren't like all totally legit. They were pretty much when they were already down by 20, 30 points. And once teams start playing prevent defense, it's pretty easy to start racking up those passing yards.
He still put up 1,500 yards.
Yeah, that's true. But if you look at look at the Browns game, for instance. So they were down 41-14 at one point. At the time, he had 227 yards, which is pretty respectable. But he ended up with, I think, 500 passing yards in that game. So, I mean, it's easy to get 250 yards in one quarter when you're down by 27 points. So.
Okay, I hear that. Yeah. Mr. Greene, go ahead and jump in on this topic. What you think, sir?
I don't blame anybody because here's the thing. Dak's still going to get paid. This is a guy that'll be 28 years old when he starts his next game in the league. If the Cowboys don't want to pay him, there's a team that will. Whether it's one of these teams like, Pittsburgh or Atlanta, a team that has an older quarterback that looks at a 28-year-old franchise quarterback and says, hey, Jerry doesn't want to pay him $35 million, I will. This is a guy that was on pace to break the NFL record for passing yards by 700 yards. He was on pace to be the first 6,000-yard passer in a season. I know the team's bad. It's not Dak Prescott's fault that they can't stop a nosebleed with a roll of paper towels.
All right, we're gonna go down to my man Chris Peel, unfortunately, for this next question. With Dak hurt, should the Eagles be the clear favorites to take the NFC East?
So they should be, but our entire offense is in the ER, like as we speak right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at our team, so one of the touchdowns happened. I think his name was, and I'm a diehard Eagles fan. I pretty much know every single player. There was one touchdown in that game, number 81. I think his name was Kroom or something. And when he caught that touchdown, I was like in my mind, like, who is that guy? So all year we've been throwing to people, and we've been getting Jamon Brown yesterday started at left guard. Matt Pryor was on the COVID list. I mean, we've been through probably 14 offensive linemen this year. So we should be the favorites, like at least for this year. I mean, look, we're in a division with, but it's not that simple because we're just not playing as well. And our defense is actually really healthy. Like we don't really have many injuries on the defensive side, but we don't have the talent. Our linebackers are terrible. Our defensive line, they get to the quarterback but they don't finish the job unless they're playing Nick Mullins and unless they're playing Joe Burrow. But our secondary it's okay. Darius Slay is really good, but he didn't really show up yesterday. I don't remember him making any plays yesterday. But it's all about the offense, and a lot of people blame Carson Wentz for everything. That's how it is in Philadelphia. That's how it is with a big market. The quarterback gets blamed for everything.
Well,
let's hear
from the.
Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Let's hear from the Dallas Cowboys fan. See what he thinks.
You gotta be kidding me when you tell me that Carson Wentz is elite. The only thing he's elite at is maybe changing the paper towel roll in the kitchen. I can't imagine him being elite at anything else other than that. Just stop with the Carson Wentz crap. The man has no playoff experience, and he's been in the league how long?
He got a Super Bowl ring. That's all that matters.
No, he didn't get a Super Bowl ring. They got a Super Bowl ring, and he just inherited it by proxy.
He did the heavy lifting, all right?
No, listen, there's no way in hell the Eagles are clear favorites for anything other than the garbage dump. I mean, honestly, they're the trash collectors of the league. So, no, there's no way in hell they are clear-cut favorites for anything. If anybody's clear-cut right now, it's still the Cowboys. End of story. Case closed. Next topic. But don't forget the ESPN reporter because he's going to weigh in heavily on this as well.
Let's go, Jeremy.
I mean, the Cowboys are still the favorite in this division because even with the backup quarterback, they still have the best quarterback in the division. The defense is terrible. The defense is terrible. But the Cowboys are still the best team in this division. They still have Zeke. I don't know what happened to Carson Wentz. I don't know if he did some of that Space Jam nonsense where he touched the ball and all his talent went into that ball. But my man it looks like a shell of himself. He's running scared, doesn't have any receivers, thrown to some dude named Travis Fulgham. I've never heard of this. And that's the number one in Philly, and it's unquestioned.
You done run off the Eagles guy.
I noticed that.
All right, let me take over since he left. Listen, when you have nine offensive starters out, when you have third, fourth string offensive linemen in the game, we have third, fourth string wide receivers, tight ends, running back. Please tell me, what's your favorite football team? Promise you that your quarterback's going to get manhandled too. Your quarterback's going to get sacked 6 to 9 times a game. He's out there willing this team. He willed them to lose by 2 points. He brought them back. Not a lot of quarterbacks are going to do that. Like you said, he's throwing the Fulgham. Who is he? I didn't know him before the season, but now he's putting in work. He put in work against the Ravens, put in work against the Steelers. Miles Sanders is out. Zach Ertz is now out. Everybody except for him and just Jason Kelce that was supposed to start the season is injured. No other quarterback in this league is going to dominate, play good when 9 of their starters are out, when their 4 starting receivers are out, when their whole entire offensive line is dismantled, even the backups are dismantled. The facts are right there. You can go ahead and blame it on Carson Wentz, and that's fine. But if you watch the games and you see what he's working with and he's still putting us in a position to win, we just can't get over the hump, then I'm not going to put the blame on Carson Wentz because he's playing with a lot of nobodies. So he's
I'm not putting the blame on Carson Wentz. I'm not saying it's his fault. And you asked who my favorite team is. I'm the professor of pathetic. I am a New York Jets fan.
Okay.
Oh.
Nobody knows bad like I know bad.
I feel for Sam Darnold. And on the defensive end, our D-line isn't playing that bad, but our linebackers stink and our corners are wish-washy and always hurt. This team is full of injuries. We had at least 20, 30 people in the IR right now. So, no, we're not the favorite. Nobody's the favorite. Division's up for the grabs, It's what team can stay healthy and what team can get first team to 7 to 8 wins because no team's going to win 10 wins. No team is going to have 10 wins in this division. And to say that, Andy Dalton is the clear-cut best quarterback, I like Andy Dalton, but the dude's been losing like his past 40 games. He's a good quarterback. Not saying he's bad, but he's not better than Carson Wentz at all.
I want to know what the Cowboy fan says to what I'm getting ready to say. The Dallas Cowboys are better with Andy Dalton than they were with Dak Prescott. Not because he's better than Dak Prescott. Don't confuse what I just said. Dak Prescott's way better than Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton makes Mike McCarthy not be a victim of himself. Yeah, he was going to let Dak throw 900 times.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree with
They're
that.
They're going to lean on Zeke. The defense is actually playing better right now than it's played, I think, in any game this year. Mm-hmm. Because Andy Dalton's in himself.
But Andy Dalton's not a bad coach. He's not better than Dak. That's obvious. But the man does have playoff experience, and he can manage a team until Dak comes back. I mean, he's better than half half the quarterbacks in the league. I mean, in some cases, Andy Dalton's not a bad quarterback. He was just on a bad team.
He was on a bad team.
Let's hear Freddie's opinion on this.
Oh, stop it, you Cowboy fans. Let's just be honest with you. You know, Carson Wentz is doing all those injuries. He don't have nobody to throw the ball to. You know, before the season, even before Dak got hurt, it's the Eagles' division to win. Didn't the Eagles win that division last year? Didn't we remember how bad that division was last year when it came to
talk about last year? Last year they only won the division by one touchdown. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted, Patty. They split the regular season.
You had your minute and a half. It's my turn, okay?
Don't put no BS out there.
You see what happened last year. You let the Eagles come back and beat you to take that division. And guess what? Now you left it on the table again. Even though the Eagles have not got it right yet, they will still find a way to get this right to win this division because the Cowboys always fold like cheap tents that they are. They always get so close. They get so close to do something, but then they always crash. I don't have no worries that even the Philadelphia Eagles not having the weapons, the tight ends will still not out. I still think Carson Wentz will still get it done because it's the Cowboys we're talking about, y'all. Oh, stop it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And who's your team?
The Green Bay Giants. He's a Green Bay Giants.
Do you realize the Cowboys have more wins than the entire state of New York as a poll?
There's only one more win than that, sir.
I know. So think about it for a minute.
We're gonna let everybody cool off for a minute here, and we're gonna switch the basketball topic real fast. Now, with Tyronn Lue signing a new contract to be the head coach of the Clippers, do you think he's gonna be the man to finally take the Clippers to the promised land? Let's start with you, Chris Peel.
I mean, you would like to think so. Ty Lue is a really good coach. I mean, we saw that in Cleveland. He only had a few years. I mean, I think they got rid of Tyronn Lue like way too quick. I think that he definitely should have got more of a chance, but I don't know. The Clippers are cursed. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. Honestly, They can get Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, everybody. I just don't think it matters when it comes to the Clippers. They're pretty much the Cleveland Browns of the NBA. It's just they're always going to be the little brother to the Lakers, no matter what. So,
well, let's go ahead and we'll get Mr. Chris Brown's opinion on that.
You know, I don't think Tyronn Lue is the person that's going to take them to the next step. Now, let me explain this. I don't think it's the coach. You know, when you look at the Game 7, the 3-1 leads that the Clippers blown, previous years, even this year, the players played terrible in Game 7. The players were making the mistakes. It wasn't really all on Doc. Doc wasn't the person that was holding them back from winning and losing. I think it's on the players. So I do like Tyronn Lue being the head coach, but they need to improve that roster. They need, Kawhi Leonard came out and said he needs a point guard. On this show, we've been saying for weeks that he needs a true point guard. They also need a good big man. So they still need to make adjustments to this roster if they want to take their team to the next level. Tyronn Lue can get the job done, but he's not going to be the reason why they win and lose games.
What about the Lakers fan and the house Lakers fan? What you think about that?
Can y'all hear me pretty better now? Pretty good now?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got you. We can hear you good.
All right, cool. So, Tyronn Lue is a good players coach. He communicates with the players really well. The players like to play for Tyronn Lue, and I think this is a good team for Ty Lue to come coach against LeBron James, Let me just go ahead and squash this one narrative that's out there because I've heard it, a little bit too much talking about, Tyronn Lue can coach against LeBron. He know how to stop LeBron. No, did you see what happened to Eric Spoelstra? Didn't he coach LeBron in Miami? So let's stop that notion there. I agree with Christian, man. The Clippers, the Clippers is the modern day Cowboys in the NBA. They can get all the talent in the world. It does not matter. They had Kawhi Leonard, they had Paul George, they had Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, and they still gonna be a mediocre team in the NBA. yes, he will take them to the promised land. The promised land for them is finally going to a Western Conference Finals. Other than that, they're not winning no championship. So I doubt that he'll take them to the promised land. I mean, aren't we tired of talking about the Clippers? Didn't we talk about them back in the day with Lob City? Now here we go again. Oh, stop it.
Go ahead, Mr. Green.
Here's the thing. Doc Rivers wasn't the problem with the Clippers. The problem with the Clippers is they've got two nomad stars that nobody seems to like. Nobody likes the fact that Kawhi takes every third night off. Nobody likes the fact that Paul George can't play in the playoffs. That's the reason they're both on their third team in 4 years. It doesn't matter. I mean, Ty Lue's not a better coach than Doc Rivers. I mean, at best, it's a wash. And then you got the fact that the Clippers built their team headquarters on an ancient Indian burial ground or something, and that there's been a hex on that team since the minute they were founded. I still think that's the third best team in the West because I think the Nuggets are better than them long term.
Go ahead, Jay McLovin.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with every single word that Jeremy Greene just spoke. That they were stupid to get rid of Doc Rivers. He wasn't the problem. The problem was Paul George and his non-existent offense. And like you said, Kawhi Leonard and his issues. But Kawhi Leonard is still probably one of the best. But I put the onus square on Paul George's shoulders. And they need a better big man to compete with Anthony Davis and LeBron James to go alongside with the rest of the team that they have. But yeah, they're cursed. And by the way, Freddie, that acid trip feel that you just gave us about the Cowboys, I know you're a little delusional over there. I know you're hallucinating. It's okay. I expect that from a Giants fan.
Hey, Jay McLevin, let me ask you a question.
Yes, I want to date your mother, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
Did you have a beard 20 years ago?
Yeah, no, I did not. I was in the military 20 years ago.
It probably took you 20 years to grow that beard. That's 25 years. That's the last time y'all been relevant, sir.
Now we're gonna take it from the West Coast and we're take it out to the East Coast to another team that must have been buried on a ancient Indian burial ground as well, man. Those New York Knickerbockers. Are they ever gonna be relevant? Go ahead, Jay McLovin.
Well, as long as James Dolan, Scott Perry, and all the rest of their senior leadership is still there, probably not. The one thing they did like the signing of Thibodeau coming in there. You know, he came in for the Rockets, went to Chicago and so forth. Thibodeau's not a bad signing for him, but no, man, those guys. That's just one team that just can't get right. You know, they're a lot like the New York Jets in some phase where they just can't put all the facets together, right? And no, so I don't see that, at least not for a hot minute. I mean, they've gone through. They're going to be in the basement lottery pick for a hot minute. So maybe they can rebuild themselves. But as long as that senior leadership is kind of screwing the team over, I don't see them being relevant.
Chris Brown.
The only thing I disagree with is that Tom Thibodeau was a good hire. I think he was a terrible hire. But this team is not going to be relevant until they fix organization. Everything comes up top. They have some good players, but coaching is not there. GM's not there. Ownership not there. It all starts with leadership. This team leadership right now is terrible. So they're going to be bad for now, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 15 years until they fix something. You know, Madison Square Garden used to mean something. Right now, everybody goes there and say, oh, it's an easy victory, and that's bad.
Chris Beal. Go ahead, Chris Beal.
Might have to move on. I think he's having audio issues.
Yeah. Mr. Green, go ahead.
I'm going to disagree with Chris Brown on who is the good player on this team. RJ Barrett's terrible. He can't defend anybody. Dude is a card-carrying member of Team Gets Mine. His favorite two words in the English language are his first name and his last name. And that's the best player on the team. I will say, the thing about Thibodeau, the biggest knock on Tom Thibodeau is that he runs stars into the ground. Can't run a star into the ground if you don't have any stars.
Mr. Henderson, go ahead, Freddie.
That was a good take.
Jeremy Greene, tough touch on. I thought Tom Thibodeau was a good coach, hard for especially a young team like the New York Knicks. You know, give a bunch of young guys who need to learn how to put the work in But let's just face it. This New York team, you can have all the young talent all you want. It's just like LA. You have to have a star. Nobody, New York Knicks fans, is not going to care about you having R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox, Julius Randle, until you put a star around them. They're not going to care. That's what people go to the Madison Square Garden for, is to see that star, and they have not seen a star there in years. And why not? It's because of the owner. I guess his name slipped out my mind. James Dolan. Since he's there, nobody want to play for him. He's awful. He's like Jerry Jones of basketball. Let's just face it.
Really? I don't even think that's
that was a terrible comparison. I don't like the Cowboys, but that was a terrible comparison.
Good,
terrible.
Chris.
You think?
I mean, him and Jerry Jones. The Knicks owner is a million times worse. A million times worse.
So
James Dolan's too worried about making folk songs with terrible music videos. He's the worst owner in sports, and it's not close
at all.
That is true. That's true. I can agree with that statement 100%. Now, even after yesterday's shellacking that Mr. Rodgers took, who's better? Does this prove Tom's better than Aaron Rodgers, or is Tom just the GOAT? Who's better, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers? We'll start with you, Chris.
Career-wise, Tom Brady by far blows me out. But when you talk about talent, you talking about, what throws they can make, what can they do on the field, I honestly think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback. When you talk about talent, what's been doing on the field, Aaron Rodgers can make every single throw with his eyes closed, run on the move, standing in the pocket, accurate, being able to throw the ball 70 yards, 75 yards down the field. Tom Brady can't make all those throws, but what Tom Brady has done his entire career is win. So when you ask me who's had the better career, I'm going with Tom Brady. You ask me what quarterback is better, talent-wise, who am I taking for a game? I'm probably going to take Aaron Rodgers.
We'll go ahead. I'll move the question to you, Chris Peel. Who's better, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers? He's still not with us. Mr. McLovin.
Man, look, I watched that game, and I think that Tom Brady absolutely looked better than Aaron Rodgers in that game. His career's better. I don't know, man. Tom's still the GOAT, man. He's still the GOAT. I don't think he's given up that crown just yet. And I'm looking at all their numbers, and he still has the better numbers. I mean, even for this season, he's at 1375. Aaron Rodgers at 14. Their numbers are pretty close. They're not too far apart. I mean, they're almost identical in their numbers for the year. So I don't know, man. For me, it's still Tom.
Okay. Mr. Greene.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you, as a Jets fan, Tom Brady will haunt my nightmares for the rest of my God-born life. I've literally watched this man win more Super Bowls than my team will see in 2 lifetimes. And to me, it's Tom Brady, and it's not close. If you're talking about for just this year, I would say Aaron Rodgers, except for the fact Matt LaFleur has something against Aaron Jones. I've yet to figure out what it is, but he has wronged him in some carnal way.
True that. Freddie, what you think?
He's a bad man, a bad man. And Aaron Rodgers. Let's just stop. You talk
I'm glad we can't hear him. I'm glad we can't hear him because I didn't want to hear that.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers is about as bad as my Wi-Fi.
Y'all can't can you hear me?
No, Freddie, we cannot. We can barely hear you. We already know you're going to say he's a bad man, so let's skip over that fact.
Hold on, let me fix it real quick. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to start over. He's a bad man. And Aaron Rodgers. Let's just get that straight. Let's just stop the presses, okay? We're not going to take what happened yesterday. We know Tom Brady didn't beat Aaron Rodgers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense beat Aaron Rodgers. Let's stop it, okay? Now, let's look at a stat that's been going on since 2006. And let's go by the QBR, okay? Aaron Rodgers is the all-time passer rating in the NFL history with a 104.93. Guess where Tom Brady ranks? Number 3 under Steve Young at 96.62. Let's just be honest. Aaron Rodgers make plays that nobody else can, okay? I understand Tom Brady has 6 Super Bowls. If you're talking about career, yes, Tom Brady is the GOAT for career-wise. But you talking about this level, just playing, Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback. For right now, until we got to see what Patrick Mahomes continue to do, because Patrick Mahomes can actually take him on the playing field as well.
Now we've already pretty much all of us come to the conclusion that James Dolan is probably one of the worst owners ever. Who's the greatest owner ever? We'll start with you, Mr. Greene.
Dr. Buss, LA Lakers. Literally, you cannot do it any more classy than he did. Everything went sideways when he passed away and his kids took over. That's a hard place to be an owner in the first place because you got so many personalities. You've had so many stars. He did it with such class, made that a place that was the place to be seen in LA, his entire ownership. I don't think there will ever be an owner in the same ballpark as him. The modern day, I would say Mark Cuban's probably the best current owner in sports.
Freddie, what you think?
Man, Jeremy, you must be reading my paper over here. Dr. Jerry Buss, and it's not even close. Let's stop it. He brought the franchise in 1979. They drafted Magic Johnson. They created Showtime. The Lakers won a championship in 1980, and it's just been a dynasty for years and years and years to come. Did you guys know that the reason why the basketball they have cheerleaders and entertainment is because of Dr. Jerry Buss? He said, let me see I see this. I see this over here in the college games. Let me add this to the NBA. They add this to the halftime. Let's not just give the fans a show on the court. Let's give them the halftime as well. That's why the NBA is one of the biggest media markets, the biggest show markets in the game today because of Dr. Jerry Buss. And what he was able to accomplish in his time, go to 16 finals, win 10. Woo! The greatest owner, and it's not even close.
Go ahead, Mr. McLovin. Who do you think's the greatest owner ever?
What I do think is that Fred's a little delusional. Let me ask you this question. As minorities, some of y'all are minorities as what they consider to be minorities. How do y'all feel about whenever somebody hires, whenever they go through the hiring process, minorities always have to be a part of that hiring process to help out minorities get better employment within each one of those leagues. Now, who do you think started that? Was it Buss? Nah. Nobody's done more for the game than Art Rooney and the Rooney family in Pittsburgh. You might know a thing called the Art Rooney rule or the Rooney rule. That basically is what I was talking about, right? So the Art Rooney rule basically requires teams to interview minority candidates for head coaching and GM vacancies. Now, if somebody has that, if you can tell me an owner that's given more back to the sport than that, because they have all the titles, right? Pittsburgh's got 5-6 titles. I mean, for football, that's pretty good. I mean, football's a little different than basketball, right? I mean, nobody's got more than 6. I don't think in the end. I think New England probably has the most right now at 6, but they have all the banners, they have all the accolades. The Rooney has everything. I mean, they founded the team and they still own the team. Nobody's ever owned that team but the Rooney family. And what the Rooney family has done for the sport of football is better than what Betts ever did for anybody or any other owner out there, honestly, because he gave more back to the people. And the story, case closed, bar done.
How you feel, Chris Brown?
I mean, the Buss and the Buss family, they did what they did. Shout out to Art Rooney, he did what he did. Those, were my last two, but I went with the Buss family, but I'm not taking nothing away from what Art Rooney did with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not at all. I had him, had a little honorable mention list. They were on there. Honestly, I think, business-wise, I know I'm an Eagles fan, but I had Jerry Jones on that list a little bit. I have the owner of the Miami Heat on that list, and also Mark Cuban. I think, what he's done right now and what he's about to do for the next 10, 15, 20 years as an owner, the Mavericks are going to take off. He implemented some things in the NBA. So there's some very good owners, both in the NBA and the NFL, but there's also some bad ones.
Oh, we can go. We got lists of bad ones for
There's
days.
also
Come
some
on
bad
now.
ones, but shout out to all good ones changing their sports, inside the sport, outside the sport, because a lot of them doing good things, and I love that McLovin brought that up. That's why, he's my guy.
There you
And
go.
hey,
All
man,
facts
that
and
Mark
facts.
Cuban is a revolutionary type of guy, man. I mean, he really is. Everything Mark Cuban touches, I swear, everything he touches turns to gold. Like
That's
that
right.
dude shit's gold, literally. Pardon my French. I mean, it really is. I'm serious. Look at everything Mark Cuban ever does. When you talk about a business aspect, everything that Cuban does on a business aspect just turns to gold. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna. This one hits a little bit closer to home. My man, Mr. Haskins, wasn't even dressed to play or in the game at all yesterday. Now, what is your thoughts on Dwayne Haskins' situation, Mr. Chris Brown?
One thing that organizations, coaches can do is take away a player's confidence. And once you take away a player's confidence, then that player's no longer going to be the same no more. I think it was a wrong move, not letting him suit up, not let him even touch the field. He maybe had some worries, but you're going to get rid of him that fast. I don't want to, say he didn't deserve it because he hasn't played the best. But to a certain extent, are you really willing to just throw away his whole career like that this early when the team isn't the best, don't have the best weapons, O-line isn't great, running back isn't great? So I think they probably could have handled it better because once you take a player's confidence away, and especially a quarterback's confidence, then you messing up their career.
Then some. Preach for us.
Yeah, I really agree with what Chris Brown just said. I think that's another issue where Dan Snyder and company have really just screwed that team up. I think that it's another bad ownership, everything kind of coming down bad. Ron Rivera, I mean, he's done some good things in the league, but I don't – benching Haskins, you're going to put him in street clothes, like you said, that takes all the confidence. I would have rather seen them just trade that guy before they put him in street clothes. Hey, just give him a trade, and they could have got picks out of it. Haskins could have got a better environment to go to try to resurrect that career. But to just put him in street clothes and just say, hey, we don't – and basically alienate you, that's not going to do any good for the team or that player. It's ridiculous.
Well, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that they've got 0 calls about Dwayne Haskins.
That is true.
It's probably true. It's probably true.
That is true. I've called around I got sources on every team. Nobody's interested. And I'll tell you why. Because you have literally you've thrown a big red flag on this guy and said, we're in the building with him, and he's a nightmare. Josh Rosen got a 2nd-round draft pick, and we all saw that he was a disaster. Right. Washington could have done the exact same thing. All they had to do was pull the plug by trading him as opposed to putting him on the bench. Somebody would have believed in the talent because he's got talent. And the thing about first-round quarterbacks, they don't die easily. And yet, Ron Rivera, and I love Ron. I covered Ron in this market for years. He's one of the nicest guys on planet Earth. But it is 100% my way or the highway. And when Dwayne Haskins didn't buy in, it was all over but the crime, especially with his guy, Kyle Allen, who is terrible. And Alex Smith, who, if he doesn't win comeback player of the year, somebody did it wrong. I don't care if he throws another pass all year.
Right.
100% agree with you. I think nobody else should win that but him. If somebody else wins that, it's a problem.
Honestly, I don't want to see Alex Smith back there on the field because that O-line is horrendous and something's bad going to happen to that man again. What you think, Freddie?
Man, you guys all touched on it, but you got a dude that played for Ohio State and threw that 50 touchdowns. The dude was a stud. He was, he had a chance to go to my New York Giants. We took Daniel Jones over him. But I think sometimes, like you guys are saying, a franchise, you go to a bad franchise, it can wear on you. You go to a franchise where they had 2 new head coaches. Jay Gruden, that was a coach last year. He hurt him. I mean, the dude was an awful coach as well. Then you have Ron Rivera coming in here as the head coach. Clearly, Dwayne Haskins is not his guy going into it. And then, I mean, even when he got drafted, the coach didn't draft him. The owners drafted him. So you're talking about a delusional franchise, ownership from GM to coaching. it's a bad situation for Haskins because I do think he's a good quarterback, just not in the right situation. And if you're going to sit him, you put him on the third string. You put him no knock against Alex Smith, but you put him under a dude that has been dealing with injuries, who should not even be back playing again. Like that's ultimately disrespectful. Um, and you're gonna hurt this dude not just on his play wise, wise too as well. This dude get in the mindset that he started believing the talk. I definitely hope some team will be interested in picking him up and try to rejuvenate his career because I think coaching, GM, and that franchise hurt this dude.
Now we all know that all boils down to being the leader of the team. 100%. You got to take it by the reins. You got to lead them out there, show them the way. Now, in that aspect, who is, in you guys' opinion, who is the greatest leader of all time? Let's start with you, Mr. Greene.
I've thought about this all day, and I keep coming back to the same name. It's Kobe Bryant. Just led by example. Just sit back and watch me, or you can be a part of it. Doesn't matter. We're going to win no matter what. If I had to pick the greatest leader in the history of sports, it's Kobe Bean Bryant, and to me, it's not all that close.
Okay, Freddie. Who you got?
Jeremy, hey, I'm a Kobe fan, man. That was my dude, my favorite player growing up. But you got to put some respect on it, man. LeBron James, man. This dude is the ultimate.
I didn't see that one coming.
Hey, man,
I'm thoroughly shocked.
Hey, it's hard because I'm a huge Kobe fan. That was my dude growing up. But LeBron James, man, I mean, that's just taking what he done this year. You go to a team, the most historic franchise, to the Los Angeles Lakers. You know the pressure that's on your shoulders. You hear all the talk, but guess what? You tune it out. And you still go out there and play. Due to COVID, you're going in the bubble. Like, don't you think that takes leadership to lead a team and to win a championship? This is more than this is his hardest championship that he's ever had to play in this year. Why? Not because of the teams you played, the environment you played in. This wasn't normal. This wasn't normal where you get your body and momentum. You get momentum going during the season, then you just have to stop for 5 months and then restart. Like, they didn't know what to expect in this bubble. This dude, LeBron, every year in and year out, he's not just a leader on the court, he's a leader on outside the court. Don't you guys see what he's doing on outside of the court? Having school with his kids, being more than an athlete. This dude is the greatest leader that we've seen. You definitely have to give your respect to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You have to give your respect to Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, all the greats. But to me, LeBron James is the greatest leader of all time.
Freddie, I love everything you just said, but I literally live like 45 minutes from where Michael Jordan does. If I say anything good about LeBron James, they start knocking on my door.
You know why, don't they? Because they're afraid. They are very afraid.
I agree. I'm just not allowed to say that out loud.
Chris Brown.
Man, see, when I think of a leader, I think I need a guy that's, going to convince me to run through a wall for him, So on my list, I got a basketball guy and a football guy in there. Everybody knows how big of a fan I am to LeBron, and this is all shout outs to him. But I got to admit, Kobe. Kobe, to me, all the stories I heard about him when they were talking about he was cussing people out, I loved it. I loved it. I love a leader like that. Oh, you going to cuss me out? Oh, that means you care. That means you want to see me be better. You're going to do everything that it takes for us to be successful, whether that's you shooting 100 shots or, people say never passed it. He hit Ron Artest for that 3 in Game 7. Listen, playing with Kobe for Kobe, I would have loved it. A guy that's going to get me mentally sharp, a guy that's going to challenge me every day. I would have loved that. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. I do think he's probably the best leader ever in basketball. LeBron's, he's up there, and shout out to MJ, Bill Russell, Kareem, all those guys. But I picked Kobe. For football, I picked Ray Lewis. All the speeches I heard from him, all the pregame stuff. First of all, that pregame dance, I would have ran, my head through a wall without the helmet. Everything he was saying, on the field, being a leader on the field, being a leader for his team on and off the field. This guy was phenomenal. I love Ray Lewis. Love what he did to the game. Love what he did for the Ravens. On my mom's side, they are Ravens fan. They preach Larry Lewis. They love Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis to me is that defensive, leader. So Ray Lewis and Kobe Bryant to me are the best 2 leaders in sports.
Go ahead, Jay. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Put them all to shame.
I keep hearing these people talk about Kobe Bean Bryant.
Mhm.
And I don't want to take that away from the Kobe because the Mamba is the Mamba. But even the Mamba had a papa. And that papa was Michael Jordan. Everything Kobe is what Jordan taught him. So y'all talk about Kobe, and he's great, but he ain't no Jordan because everything he knows, he got from the Zen master himself. So I put and I'm not even, we're talking about basketball, I got the leader being Michael Jordan, hands down, not even close. Not even close. MJ is the leader of basketball. But my personal leadership, when I kind of like, I'm kind of getting the baseball thing. My personal leader is Derek Jeter, man. Honestly,
Touche.
Derek Jeter's my guy, man.
Now,
The guy's got what? I mean, he's got all the stats. He's played well over 20 years. He's done all the development on his team. Everybody knows that when the New York Yankees will win all the series, everybody knows that Derek Jeter was the captain and the leadership of that team. Talking to Mario Rivera, keeping them all on point. Derek Jeter. Go back and look at them games and watch Derek Jeter and how he conducted himself. 20 years, man. He's got 5 Gold Gloves, 6 Silver Sluggers, 5 World Series, 310 batting average lifetime. I mean, the guy does it all, right? 14 All-Star appearances. But yeah, I mean, on and off the field, never been in trouble, always doing the right things. And so Derek Jeter for me is my number one. But if we're talking about basketball, definitely MJ all day.
Personally, I'd have to say who I think was the greatest leader of all time, who wasn't really rambunctious, didn't speak a lot, wasn't loud, wasn't in your face. He just went out there and showed it every day, and I mean every day, and that's the Iron Man, Cal Ripken. I mean, that guy went out there for years upon years and years and did the thing. So, and me being an Orioles fan too, I'm gonna have to say that. But we'll kick it. We'll kick it back to the NBA here, and we'll say who the most underrated player of next season is going to be. Who's going to be the next Luka, the next Devin Booker, the next like what Ja did this year? Who's the most underrated player coming out of next season? Go ahead, Chris.
My answer, I feel like never changes. And I think next year, whether he stays on his team or gets traded to a contender, it's only going to show how good he is. And that's Drew Holiday. You're talking about a guy that can play the point guard, shooting guard position, a guy that can guard every single position on the court, a guy that can give you 20 and 3 steals, give you the rebounds, give you the assists, give you everything on the court. Drew Holiday to me, I love him with the Pelicans, but if a contender trades for Drew Holiday, he will be a piece if they need to get over the hump, or if he goes to the Lakers, why they sustain where they're at right now. I would love to see Drew Holiday on the Lakers, honestly, because he can defend, he can score, he can shoot, he can do everything on the basketball court. Drew Holiday is my guy. He showed it when he was with the Sixers, went over to the Pelicans, and he's doing his thing there. Then, second, I had to put Bogdanovich right now with the one with the Kings. I really feel like if a team trades for him, you're getting a guy that can give you 20-plus points, shooting the ball efficiently. And I think he's going to make immediate impact if a contender trades for him. So, most underrated guy, Drew Holiday is number 1, and Bogdanovich is number 2 for me.
What you think, Jay McLovin?
Yeah, I'm going with Blake Griffin, honestly, with the Detroit Pistons. He people forget about Blake Griffin because the Pistons haven't been in the spotlight in quite some time now. But he's still averaging 24.5 points a game, and he's still getting 7 rebounds and 5 assists averaging. So he's still putting up the good numbers. He's still, obviously the leader of his team. But I think that he gets bypassed a lot because the Pistons haven't been in the playoffs, and so I think he kind of gets overlooked. But for me, it's still Blake Griffin.
Freddie.
Who's going to be the underrated player? I think this player, we get him this year. I believe he won the most improved player this year, and I think he's going to definitely take another step this year. Brandon Ingram, man, that dude is that dude is a beast. He's a killer. He's a scorer. Mini KD. He's 6'7". I mean, even last
taller than that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but he's taller than that.
I'm sorry, he's 6'7". I'm sorry. He played 33 minutes last year. Gave you 23 points. He shot 46% from the field. He gave you 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal a game. I think he's going to take that to the next level. I actually think he's going to be the best player on the team. I think he'll be better than Zion. I think that they should run the team through Brandon Ingram because we've seen what he was doing without Zion. That dude was dropping 30 a game. He was being the leading scorer on that team. And I think he's going to show the world that he can do even more. And that's one of the reasons, when you have a player like AD available, you trade everybody. But he was the one that, hurt that you had to trade because you knew what that dude could become in the future.
Who's your sleeper next season, Jeremy?
First of all, I want to agree with what Freddie said about Brandon Ingram. The number one thing they need to do to make Brandon Ingram the player he can be is ship Lonzo Ball out of town. I don't care where you send him. I don't care what you get. Just get him away from this young team. I've actually got two. One's kind of a homer pick because I know the kid and I like him a lot. My first one's Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets.
Yes,
this is a dude that a lot of people are they slept on this Denver team. Denver was my personal little sweetheart team through the playoffs. I actually had them going to the finals after I saw them in the bubble games. I think people are going to remember a lot of what they saw in the playoffs and not remember that this is a 19-year-old kid and this was his first shot in the playoffs. And did he rise to the occasion? No, not necessarily. But he did to get them there. The other one is a guy that I know because I covered him in college, Kobe White, point guard of the Chicago Bulls. Jim Boylan had a thing against him. I have no idea what it was. I've asked. I don't know. But Kobe is one of the best humans I have ever come in contact with. And I think Billy Donovan is going to find a way to really use his talent. He's actually a mixture of Ty Lawson because he's that fast with the ball in his hand. And he's got a shot like Marcus Page. He literally is. Wow. You couldn't build a better Carolina point guard than Kobe White. And I think he's going to be a stud with the Chicago Bulls.
Just start on what he said, though. Kobe White 6'5", and he's a beast. And Michael Porter Jr., in my opinion, should have went top 6 in the draft. If that, probably top 5. But so many people are worrying about a back injury when when you draft, you're drafting for the future. That's all I had to say. But both those guys are going to be great NBA players, in my opinion.
You heard it here first. Rui Hachimura.
From the Wizards.
Rui Hachimura, man. The man is an animal.
You're not allowed to say that name unless you can spell it.
Now, that's all the topics we have for tonight.
Hey, Big Country, hold on, real quick. We got Jeremy here. I got a question for him. Hey, Jeremy. Me and Jay McLovin, Chris is on my side with this. We debate this all the time. And, you seem like a very knowledgeable man, and I want you to clear it up for him, educate him, because, you guys have the beard thing going on and everything, but I want you to educate him. Who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan?
Oh, I'm gonna get killed on this. To me, it's LeBron, and it's not all that close. And it never has been. LeBron's 6'9", built like an NFL tight end, and is literally the most athletic guy on every floor he's ever stepped on in his life. I love Michael. I know Michael. I've sat in boxes with Michael. Michael's a cool cat. He had Scotty, and he played in a different time. I mean, I think if you put Jordan in today's era, I think he would struggle because he would never be the flopper that James Harden is and all these other guys. Michael's heart couldn't take that. If you don't foul me, I'm not falling down for you. Now, LeBron's 6'9" and built like a nose tackle. He could have got – and the argument that drives me nuts is, oh, LeBron's too soft. He couldn't have played in that day. I stood beside the man. I'm 6'5", 280, and he makes me look like a little boy. He could 100% play in any era he wanted to. He would have adapted his game, and I love them both. And if anybody in North Carolina ever asks if I said this, I'll swear that wasn't me that said it, but I would take LeBron.
I just want you to educate him because,
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a minute now. Hold on a minute. Mr. Quick to speak and slow to listen. Hold on a minute. Now listen now. You just heard two relevant pieces of information that you missed because you don't listen. You think you hear what you hear, but you don't know what you're saying. The man is speaking out of fear right now of who is next door. So he's gonna say LeBron. He's speaking out of fear. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But we all know the real deal. Jordan all day, baby. And I did say, and for the record, I did say that LeBron is probably the only person in the NBA today that could play back in the old Lambeer days, the old bad boy days of basketball. I
agree with that. I agree with that. The NBA has way too many James Hardens and Russell Westbrooks, who I can't stand either one of, because they play all the offense. They're card-carrying members of Team Gets Mine. Their first name and their last name are their favorite words in the English language. I was an AAU basketball coach for years. Drives me nuts.
Hey, let me ask you another question, man. Houston Rockets, that's Jay McLevin's team, but they missed out on Ty Lue. Have you heard anything about who they're going after? Who's going to be the next coach, or you have Daryl Murray step down? What's the situation going on in Houston, and why haven't they made a decision yet?
It's looking more and more like Jeff Van Gundy is going to be the next coach of the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted Ty Lue a lot, but the Daryl Morey thing I think caught him off guard because they didn't force him out. I asked around. I don't have great sources in Houston. I'm just so far away from it. But through the grapevine, I've heard that Daryl Morey just was done. Was tired of the heat for everything he said about China. He was just ready to take a year off. It wasn't so much that they forced him out, and that kind of threw him off because now they're looking for a guy that could possibly do both, and there's not really one out there. I'll tell you another name to watch, though, another guy that I know reasonably well, Sam Cassell.
Yes, I'm going to cut you off, but I've been saying that for a while now. My fault.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, watch Sam Cassell in Houston. If Van Gundy, for whatever reason, pulls out, watch Sam Cassell. They love him down there.
I was really hoping, if I could be hiring, I was telling them my personal favorite coach for Houston would have been Mark Jackson. But
I've never understood why he hadn't got a job.
But he's not going to get a job unless Van Gundy gets hired and hires him as assistant. With him in the NBA and all that stuff, it's too much behind the scene type of thing because we all know what he is as a head coach. That's not the problem. So all things, the powers of B, are determining why he's not a head coach.
That's one of those things that I've heard from literally every source I have in the NBA. So there has to be some fire to that smoke.
Yes.
That's ridiculous, though, man, because that guy can really draft well and he can coach.
What?
And that would be great to have him in Houston. But, yeah, it's terrible.
So before we get out of here, I'm going to give everybody a quick 20, 30 seconds to ring in what they think about this topic right here. We want to thank you, Mr. Greene.
I got one question for Jeremy Greene, though.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
Hey, I have one question. So, let me ask you this. So, we just had the ALCS, right? What do you think about Houston's team, man? Do you think that? They got some new young pitchers that came up, and Framber Velez and what's the other guy's name? Javier and Josh James and a few other guys. Where do you see them? Do you see them, eventually coming back and competing for the World Series again?
I do. Baseball is a really sore topic for me because I work for a Braves affiliate. So it's been an ugly 24 hours in my town. The cheating thing with Houston, it got overblown to me. I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to hit it. I mean, it's the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Just because they knew it was coming that didn't turn them into power sluggers. I mean, you got an unnecessary advantage. I played a lot of football. I heard a lot of calls. I knew a lot of plays that were coming. Doesn't mean I cheated to do it. I heard what you said, and I reacted in kind. I think Houston's a really talented young team. Actually, a friend of mine that I went to high school with, Cameron Maben, just won a World Series ring with him last year. I know I've heard a lot about Houston. Cam liked it there a lot. Good dudes, good locker room, good everything.
Who's winning the World Series?
That was going to be my question right there.
What?
Who you got winning the World Series and how many games? Go for it, Jeremy.
Every member of my production staff is either from Tampa or pulls for the teams in Tampa. So if I don't say Tampa when I come to my studio in the morning, I will be locked out. So I am going to say the Tampa Bay Rays.
Smart man. You're a smart man. What'd you think, Chris?
I have to agree. Everybody wants it to be the Dodgers, so LA can have their thing, but that's just not the case.
Okay. We know what you're gonna say, Freddie. Go for it.
What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say?
We know you're
I'm
gonna say
guessing Dodgers.
LA all day.
Hey, I'm going Tampa. I would like the Dodgers to win, but I think the Tampa Bay, what they did to the Astros, the Dodgers can't hang. The Dodgers, even though they was not predicted to come back and win the last round, they did surprise some people and come back and won the last round. So yeah, Tampa's going to win.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, they got that dude Rosarena, baby, and that dude is a rookie, and he is on freaking fire. Like when I say fire, like I wouldn't go within 100 feet of that dude because he will burn you. He is that good. Like this guy is no joke. I would not be surprised if he gets World Series MVP if they win it, and he's a rookie. And I don't know how many times a rookie's ever won the MVP. I don't think that's ever happened in a World Series. But I'm telling you, man, between him and that Margot, him and Margot and Lowe, man, I'm telling you. Hey, and they got Chad Morton, which is really good, and Snell. I'm telling you, man, that team they're ready, man. They're ready. And that Rosarena, man, every time he comes to the plate, he's money. Just money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We want to thank you, Mr. Greene. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure, sir.
Anytime, guys. Hey, if you're ever free at 9 in the morning, feel free. I'd love to have you on my show as well.
Sounds great. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you, my brothers. It's been a great show. Appreciate you. We out.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working.